Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Teddy.
We can't stop snapping. Doozy of an episode here because in the season openers, they are now hitting us with 2 crazy cards. This whole month is absolutely loaded, but Pixie and Hope Summers, a lot to talk about there. We've got our tier list for Series 5, and we're going to be hitting you with some hot tips on maybe the best decks to grind out Infinite here in the early stages of the season. Brad, have you been doing just a lot of card testing, or have you been trying to breach that next level with the deck?
So usually I am just using this time to try to, climb Infinite. I had the worst experience today on stream.
No.
So was streaming and I was like, I haven't done any climbing yet. We did a little tiny bit on Tuesday, but it was mostly just messing around with the decks, like the Pixie and stuff. And then we're going to commit today to actually climbing. So I played 2 decks, and actually I'll show you real quick. We'll come back to this page in a second when it comes to Pixie and all that. Okay, so this is the last 7 days.
Yep.
I played these 2 decks. Turned out
Cryo and Yuke. Oh, yes,
so
the
we
Annihilus.
played the Annihilus lockdown list.
We'll get to do a deep dive into a lot of these cards for the tier list, which I think is going to be super interesting. But the deck overall is like a mixed control value Ms. Marvel, and then on the other side is a Supergiant deck with Omega Red. Both of them rock the Alioth on the high end.
Yep, so we have the priority deck that I took to Infinite last season. That's what I switched to. I'm like, fuck it. And then basically we started out, we had a 60-something% win rate. We were like 18, and we were very similar to this one. 18-9 with Anime. We were around 18-10, I believe, for the Prio deck. And I was at -1 cube.
I know, yeah. It's, you take a couple of those like high cube ones, and then you get a bunch of cagey people just retreating for one.
I want you to guess how many 8 cubers I lost out of that 25 and 13 record.
Every single one you took. I almost have a personal rule not to take 8 cubers because my percentage is so bad.
So I lost 4 8 cubers during this climb. 3 out of 4 were Alioth 50/50s.
Yep. That just keeps on turning, and then you're like, I gotta roll it again, and it turns again, and it's like,
yep.
It's now, one of those. That's the absolute, like, that's
cubes.
The pits. Is when you think back, and you're like, well, like if I had won, I would have already been Infinite. But let alone like if I'd retreated instead of taking the 8, I still would have been up just so much more.
Yeah, but you have to think about like, if I was like, if we just won half of those 50/50s, right? That's a 32 cube difference, because it's not just about, yes, it's 16 total cubes that you gain, but think about the 16 cubes that you lost.
Exactly.
In those
the
as well.
flip of a win or a loss of an 8 cuber is absolutely enormous.
It's a full rank.
It's a full rank up and down that you have to then like climb back. And,
This deck is still good. I actually took out Arrow, did Cold Obsidian instead. I still stand by the way, that 3 1-drops is exactly enough.
Sure.
For Cole. It's just almost every game you have it. And
someday they'll take away his ability to be played at the same time as a 1-cost on the planning phase. Like that still seems busted to me, but
this is going to be the card that's always going to be like the underrated thing. It's like no one's going to think about this as a busted card. They just think of you know, the cards around him as being busted.
It's true. On my stream, I saw some people like talking about cutting Cole from different lists that I was playing, and I'm like, no. We play Cole, guys. You're going to see all the other streamers playing Gladiator. We're going to play Cole.
Well, it's great because I'll be like, yeah, I got a Tuma in one lane, a Cole in the other lane. And I'm like, you can Shang-Chi me. Yeah. Pick a lane. Pick one.
Oh, that was one of my 8 cube losses. Is they had got, I was like, I'm set, but then Coulson had created a second Chi, and they had Zabu. So it's like Chi, and I'm like, that's not possible.
You didn't Moon Girl at all. What is going on?
Inconceivable. I don't think he knows what that word means. How is that Annihilus doing for you? Because I haven't seen too much of him. Did it feel good?
This one, look, again, we went 18-9. We didn't go crazy, but keep in mind, plus you see the plus 16, you're like, or the plus 25, you're like, that's not great. But in reality, it's a 0.59 average per game, and then a 0.66. If we saw this at a higher threshold in like the actual like page, and you're like, oh, 0.56. That's pretty good. That's among the best. So
Okay.
we did pretty good. There
Let's
was some awkwardness, and we ran into some bad beats, but yeah.
Gotcha. I'll hit you with my 2 decks that I went to Infinite with, and they both feature our new cards, so they can be a great pivot to us about talking
Oh,
about
you
these
got
guys.
the day one Infinite.
No, it was day 2, but it was off of exclusively playing the new cards and testing them a little bit.
Yep.
I did try Silky Summer's move. That was not it. Not it for me, at least. I've seen some other people having moderate success with it. I just shot you my images on the Discord.
Yep, I got it right here.
Sweet. So this is the sauce. Thanos with Hope is insanely good because it's already running so many move effects that you can get incredible use of the extra energy and like keep on cycling on her if you hit the high roll of getting her early. Enchantress got adapted in here a little bit late in my climb because the ongoing decks were the only things high rolling me to be able to outpace me, and I just got super frustrated at that. And then so we sacrificed Kyra. I was like, I would rather set up Hope or one of these other pieces, and then I have Pro X to be able to either lock down a lane in a win, because you have so much access to energy cheats with Hope in here. It's insane, Brad. And I do like this better than Lockjaw, so we're also running Hope instead of Lockjaw. So we opened up some deck space, and yeah, like the clunkier 4-cost Lockjaw just wasn't quite vibing, and then we have the Cull and Discar and Blob plan B that's like never bad. So all around, so good. 73.9% win rate, plus 58 cubes. That is 1.26 cubes a game. Obviously, I have bots in there, and
Right.
I pride myself at being pretty good at recognizing and then taking the max I can from the bots. But all around, it felt like a great climb.
And then we have another list, which is
that will bring in all the cards. So I think Hope is the better card. I think Hope is going to be the best card releasing this season, and I'm already hoping that she gets nerfed because it feels like she could just play in anything.
I cannot wait. Oh, Teddy, I just cannot wait for the clamoring and the screaming from the rooftops of like, they nerfed another season pass card. They did it again.
The card has been nerfed in the fastest rate possible. Why did they do this right after the cash grab? The cash grab, the greedies. The greedies making good cards over there.
They should just nerf it tomorrow.
I love that it is going to be kind of a new meta, but it's like the oppressive thing for Hope especially is that there's not a counter. You know, energy cheats get stopped by Mobius, but she's giving you max energy, and that's not counterable except for Sandman. Basically, a deck that has extra energy normally wants to play extra cards, and so Sandman is like your soft counter, but it's not really. You could try and lock down a lane or force them to play away from Hope Summers, but the cards that would do that are also very rare and very like niche deck options. So there's no like blanket I can include one card to counter Hope, and that's what makes it like a real feels bad because of the insane power level that she has.
Yeah, and the fact that she works on every instance
that's crazy
of a card. Like that's
you and I. We did our video series like a while ago of like the data mine cards that could never be released in the state they are, and then a little while later we saw the data mine of Hope, and we were both just immediately, this can't happen. They're joking with us, and then it released basically the same.
And of course that was it was +2 originally, and we're like, that's crack, that's insane. And then it got changed to +1. Right, that's still
per
really
card.
good.
Not once a turn per card.
Yeah,
it's too much.
I think it is too much. I think they aimed. Okay, I don't know what they were thinking. Actually, I don't understand. I can't comprehend it because it's just like you just nerfed Lockjaw as a 3-cost because it was so efficient at cheating on energy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is just a Lockjaw on another form of the Axii.
Right. It's crazy. What is it like? The one thing that I can think of is, they have a small team testing this, and like if their testing was actually pigeonholing her in the bounce decks, then I could get it. Like if you're just trying to make bounce meta, it kind of needs something like this to really punch up. And if you autofill a deck, it gives you a bounce Werewolf by Night deck. And so I get it. Like Hope with that deck is probably like about even with the other meta decks it used to be, but it's just there's all these other decks that make way better use of her and then roll over anything that's like not using it. We're gonna see Hope in everything for a little bit here, I think.
Yeah, she's going to be a mainstay in Thanos because it's
Yes.
the easiest replacement
It
for
just makes
Lockjaw.
sense.
Yeah. She's probably a mainstay in Haivo now.
Let's
Both
talk about it.
this
So this is
version,
my High Evo deck. Also, this one I think is more popular than the Thanos version, partly because it's Cult of the New. It has both Pixie and Hope. High Evo was already a popular choice for
Lambie
like
already tweeted
early
about
climbing.
both the Thanos
He
one
tweeted
and
out
this.
yep, exactly. So I built these independent of Lambie, but I mean, there's only 12 cards. Like Lambie's a great deck builder. He probably has a more optimized version than I do, actually. But what I've done is I've cut Magic and Leech to be able to include Pixie, Mobius, Hope, and I cut Nebula to be able to fit it all in. I've got Wasp
Yeah.
here as well, and I'm using A-Bomb as a little bit of extra juice. So it's a faster, leaner High Evo than you normally see, but with Pixie and Hope, it still gets all the ramp that it needs to do either the big Hulk drop or always be passing energy for its. It makes so much use of extra energy so easily that Pixie just giving you a few key discounts is amazing. Hope giving you a few key additions, amazing. And then the Pixie Mobius is like snap territory. Like that in hand is just, I got this.
Right. So yeah, for audio listeners only, and I'll go back to the Thanos one and read that one out in a second as well. We have Wasp, Sunspot, Misty Knight, Pixie, Mobius M. Mobius, Cyclops, Hope Summers, High Evo, The Thing. Here's the thing: A-Bomb, She-Hulk, and Hulk. As for the other list, the Thanos list, this one posted 19 and 11 as the win rate, 63.3%, and gained 28 cubes. The Thanos list features Psylocke, Jeff, Hope, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Cole Obsidian, Prophex, Vision, Blob, Thanos, Scar, Magneto, and that posted a win rate of 34 and 12. That's at 73.9%, plus 58 cubes. So good climbs with both of them, Teddy.
Yeah, no, I felt very happy with both of these. My chat was immediately like, oh, you've created a monster. And then you know what? I chose the wrong monster in my league match. I'm in the Snap Judgments League, and we played the High Evo deck, and we lost. And I was like, I should have played the Thanos deck. I did misplay in the middle of the match as well. I've got pretty bad vibes of like my streamed competitive, like a league or a tournament matches. I'm trying to shake off the bad juju, but tune in. We'll probably keep it as a Tuesday stream fixture here as much as we can. If you guys want to see me fight my demons,
Yeah, I'll be doing the Snap Judgments event later this month.
Oh, nice. But you're not in the league?
No, okay. I'm just doing the bigger event.
Cool.
Whether I don't know if I'm playing it or casting it yet. Actually, I'm open to both, but I'm doing one of those. But yeah, otherwise, the top list. So here's the one to the right. So we'll talk about the one on the left in a second. But to the right, these are the top Pixie lists. Notice they both have Hope Summers.
I think playing them together does, like, Hope is just going to be ubiquitous in the meta, but they are fine together.
Yeah, I've been playing them together in like my builds. So this one's close, but this one features Nebula still. So we got the trio: Sunspot, Nebula, Misty Knight, Pixie, Jeff, Cyclops, Hope, High Evo, Prophex, Alioth, She-Hulk, and Hulk. So
I'm super intrigued on the Alioth because I don't normally think of this as a high tempo deck, but obviously it's doing well. It has a good win rate. It's a solid core of cards. So it's probably something I just need to play around with a little bit to try and figure out.
Yeah, because I think it gives you the option to potentially go like the pass on 5 and then She-Hulk Alioth on 6 if you played something on top of Hope Summers on 4 to get the energy. Then you can pass on 5 because you'll have 6, and then She-Hulk will be 0 on 6.
Exactly. Or you can energy cheat into Hulk on 5, which should be a big enough body that you have tempo, and then Alioth to close it out, right?
Yep, that too.
Yeah,
it's just High Evo's good, and Hope Summers is good in the list. And then the one on the left is just called Hope Summers. That features Sunspot, Spider-Ham, Nico, Minoru, Pixie, Goose, Jeff, Mobius, Hope, Moon Girl, Doc, Dr. Doom, specifically not Doc Ock, She-Hulk, and Magneto. So this is where I kind of landed
if
as
this
well.
Sticks, because the idea of like Moon Girl has always been super greedy, but Pixie gives you like this random assortment of like one really good card and some other cards that get messed up. And then Moon Girl could double down on that one good card and let you carry the game through there. Nico does as well with the copy effect. I got that a couple times with a deck I was playing, and that felt amazing. So I can see where this deck is going for sure.
Yeah, and I'm surprised there's no like. I mean, I know Wasp feels bad to run sometimes, but if you're running, I actually like Wasp with Nico because sometimes I'll have
True.
games on turn one because I've tried this before back when Nico first came out. I was like, I feel like I want Wasp with her because that lets you have access to her like destroy draw two on turn one, and that's a great
Yep.
just pairing. And you just
On
go, okay,
command.
cool, free Wasp, turn you into draw two, and then that also opens up the doors for a turn three Hope Summers with Wasp, which could potentially do nutty things as well.
You
I'm not
jump
sure
to
what the cut would
5, which
be.
is a little weird with this deck, but in other decks, like if you wanted to tech into some 5 costs like a Pro X or a Vision, it'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
great.
Yeah, I like Vision a lot.
Because he goes back on the Hope Summers, and then you're at 6 the next. You're just ramping like crazy.
Right. Well, I mean, on 5, you could do like something like, one of your many one cost here, your 3 plus Moon Girl with
Yeah.
5 energy, right?
Yeah.
And also,
Unsung Hero is Magneto. Turn 5 Magneto is incredible. He's way better than turn 6 Magneto. So the ability to ramp off Hope to be able to get this early Magneto can be a game changer for sure.
please stop playing Magneto. All of you. Everyone listening, please stop. This is my number one most hated card in the entire game.
Yeah.
Not even close. It's not even close. I hate this card so much.
But I love this
Well,
character.
I watched an opponent today on stream discard a Magneto and a Death, and then it was turn 6 came around. I'm like, okay,
He's gonna bring it
if
back.
they play Hela
They will.
and this Magneto goes in either the left lane or the right lane,
Yep.
I lose the game.
Exactly.
Not because of its power, but because it pulls the entirety of my mid lane. Because I had Miss Marvel. No, I had not Miss Marvel. I had Omega Red on the middle lane, which was an Onslaught Citadel. And then I also had an Atuma in that lane that wasn't negated because they put an armor in that lane earlier. So I'm like, okay, I'll put the Atuma. So if Magneto went left or right, I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Disruption Hela decks are kind of crazy. The fact that they're so good, but
makes me sad. Then we have Pixie being played in Galactus. Pixie being played in
one's
another
brutal. Well, it's also like Hope. Like you're just fishing for that early Galactus, which it makes sense. I still think Galactus is like on a meme deck level right now. It's a little more competitive than like a true meme deck, but that's kind of where I see it. It's very gimmicky.
Then you have the silky smooth type of stuff with Pixie and Hope Summers.
My Achilles heel.
Oh my god, they're playing Adam Warlock in this one. It's a lockjaw
Tell
list.
me it ain't so. Well, yeah, that's the other piece here is that I see a lot of people running the Thor Beta Ray Bill. I don't get it because Pixie does not shuffle the non-start card cost. So having Thor create Mjolnir doesn't. You don't change the Mjolnir cost if you play Pixie later. And so I guess then the idea is it's just a deck that already wanted to run Wasp and 6 costs. And so that's why they think they can get an edge off the Pixie. And you can also cycle the Pixie body if you play it late, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that might be fine enough. And look, everyone's going to love it when you get a 0-cost Adam Warlock. And you're like, see, it would have been broken.
True. I mean, you can also, if you Pixie early-ish, right? And then you Jane was like in hand. She'll guarantee pull that free card that Wasp put her cost on. So that's a fun one. Being able to pull that Doctor Doom for free, even like a Beta Ray Bill final turn. Like, sure, it's still so much better than Wasp.
Right. Yeah, so I guess verdict overall
Maybe
today, early
verdict
deck, on the spotlight here, as well as like, so look, Hope is a must buy. If you're the kind of person who doesn't get the season pass, this is when you should make an exception for.
100%. What's the next season pass, by the way? Trying to refresh myself. Do you know off the top of your head?
April cards. Let's look.
I know
Baron Zemo.
Okay.
Where he's
I think Hope is going to be better than Baron Zemo.
Oh, absolutely.
Baron looks like a good card. Nothing on against Zemo, but Hope right now is looking better.
This next month looks so goofy. See, look, here's the thing.
White Widow is like this insane standout. Red Hulk looks crazy, and then the other ones are just like, what are they doing?
U.S. Agent looks good. I think you can
Okay.
because you can play that in
Well,
control instead of either alongside or
sure.
instead of Maximus, because you're
I mean,
already
I
running
don't.
or instead of Lizard. This is just a better Lizard.
It is a better lizard, but I don't love him.
No, I like him.
And I
You,
don't. What was Valentina again?
oh, I like her a lot. She's the
Is she a
2/2
good
that
one?
adds the random 6 cost and gives it -2 power, -2
I
cost.
do. I like that one.
Oh, I
Red
cannot
Guardian
wait.
does not look that great now, especially with changing of Lockjaw.
Yes, but Black Knight's still a thing.
True.
Okay.
Zabu, I guess, technically
Maybe
still a thing. Hope, if Hope is the cheap
maybe
card, I
yeah.
guess you want
Maybe
to hit
it's the
Hope.
lowest power. So if they get the Wasp down to Hope, you
Oh,
dodge
my
it.
bad. Yeah.
But
Lowest power.
4 is still fairly low.
It could be. You don't know.
If you have priority and they have
Yeah.
the Hope,
Yeah, you
you
snipe
can
it as
snipe
soon as
it.
you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but-
maybe there's hope for him. Ha 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 ha.
Ha, ha, ha,
But
ha, ha.
I like basically the entire lineup this month a little bit better than next month. So if you have resources, blow them now, and don't feel too bad if it pinches you next season, because we're up for just banger after banger. Pixie's looking better than expected. Already, some of these decks are becoming meta. Hope obviously the must get, but I like Pixie quite a bit. Pixie
Yeah, I think she's
Mobius,
fun.
has to be it. It's weird because the comparison to Mr. Negative begs itself. And Mr. Negative, you can guarantee with your deck construction is going to have amazing hits for you, right? So even a late game Mr. Negative, you're like, that one draw could swing the whole game. And Pixie is like just this mixed bag. Like, I could draw something worse. Or because you have normally multiple 6 costs and multiple cheap cards, you could draw something just the same. Quite often, in fact, I'm like playing this negative high Pixie deck, high Evo Pixie, and it's like, oh yeah, so Hulk took She-Hulk's cost, and great. Well, it's just the same, and that's fine. But then you hit these high rolls, and it's like, this should not be allowed.
Yeah, especially like you said, when you have Pixie on 2, Mobius on 3. Feels very good.
That's the snap territory.
And it's funny that there are 2 of the top lists that are running Pixie are also running Spider-Ham. Of course, you should run Mobius, but like,
Yes.
I think it's funny that there are 2 top lists that are like, yeah, you just run everything from the spotlight here.
That was super interesting. It's actually everything from the spotlight. I love seeing the Spider-Ham resurgence. I think he's good enough to deserve it for sure as a one cost.
Yeah, I think he was last season too, especially with Hela being one of the top decks. Like, why were we not playing enough more Spider-Ham?
But as we roll down the list, like, where do you put Pixie in priority? Because you got Mockingbird. Am I saying that right? Please tell me I got it right this time.
Yes,
I got it right this time. So Mockingbird
is
is just free with Thanos, basically, which
correct.
seems busted.
Also,
like, do you actually cut Scar or do you cut Call?
Time out. I have breaking news from a very trusted source. I cannot name, but this is to be treated as fact.
All right.
Okay. She works with Loki.
Ah! Let's go.
The Loki transformed cards
pretty scary.
count as not starting in your deck.
Okay. I mean, obviously you have a high chance of getting rid of her in that case, so Thanos might be more consistent anyway, but that is quite cool.
Yeah, Thanos is more consistent, but that's an option. So you can still, like, my thinking was like, you don't run her in a Loki deck because first off, filling your hand is the main goal for Loki if you're going that route. But
yes,
perhaps if you Loki on 4 and then you draw her later, she ends up being potentially like a 2 cost late in the game on turn 6.
So is she better than Devil Dino or Ms. Marvel then? Like, what's your replacement? It has to be one of those.
Depends on how aggressive you want to go with like 1 cost now in Loki.
Fair.
I could see her being better than Miss Marvel because that can be the one that's a bit awkward to fulfill.
Yeah.
But yes, in Thanos, she's a snap. Like, just insta put in Thanos. It's another 5/9. If you don't draw her, you can hit her with Blob potentially.
Freaky deaky.
So yeah, she's a terrifying card.
So yeah, Pixie's up against that. I think Mockingbird might actually be better than Pixie.
And Moon Girl.
Oh, you could duplicate her, of course, and then all the duplicated cards will also count for discounting her. So
and
roll
tokens.
us down.
Tokens count too.
Yes, the token generator. So I think Mockingbird has a ton of potential that I didn't initially see, and I'm valuing her much more highly now that I've seen more of the full picture. Also, War Machine. Now that we got the clarifications on War Machine, is he
I
next?
no, that's
Sorry,
Cannonball.
Cannonball. Cannonball
Supposedly.
probably the lowest card, and I think he's a good card, which shows how packed this season is.
So okay, prior to
Can I please get that Kitty Pride just given to me? Second dinner. You know my
yes,
account. Just please.
Hellfire Gala. So Cannonball. Prior to the release, Glazer always asks a lot of the creators, I think Teddy, you as well,
Yeah, I'm in there.
about the like to rank our new releases. Did you rank them for him this time?
I did. Let's see whatever Teddy was thinking back then.
Sure. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm gonna
Teddy.
start. Let's start bottom and go up. Okay.
I put okay.
So my number 5 was Pixie.
Mine was War Machine. I did not know at the time I wrote it that War Machine synergized with Infinite.
Yeah, and I still hate that, by the way.
I do too.
I think it's unintuitive because nothing about
Yes.
what the card says here tells me that. Like
No,
it doesn't.
it says I make all your cards Jeff when I just read it.
Yeah, it should
Not-
affect on-field effects, not in your hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing affects in hand effect. Like because 0 never like affects Infinite.
Right.
Anyway, we're getting on a convoluted bit. So yeah. What's
Number
next for you?
4 was War Machine, and that's even with me knowing.
Wow.
That's with me knowing because I think
I
the
was
other ones are
Mockingbird.
better.
I now my eyes are more open on Mockingbird.
So number 3, this is gonna sound crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna sound crazy.
Okay.
I have Hope here.
Oh no.
So I had Hope here. Because I
Okay.
was like, because like I also, to be fair, I answered this at like 8 a.m. when I just woke up, and I was groggy, and I was like, okay,
Sure. Yep.
Hope decks. I guess she can go and bounce.
Yeah.
I
Why
don't have
not?
any. I said in my description. To be fair, I did say by far is the most broken ability, and ramp
Yeah.
is incredibly good. But I don't know where
Fair.
she goes yet, and we have to find that out.
Everywhere is the
And
answer.
that
That's
the
why it's so
answer
hard
is
of you to
everywhere.
think. It was just everywhere. Dude, like a Sarah control deck, even with Hope, I'm thinking right now, why aren't people trying to ramp into Sarah on 4? Like, that's busted as heck too.
Right.
You can, okay, anyway, enough on Hope, but obviously Hope is better than this. I put Cannonball
Correct.
number 3, and I think in light of card clarifications and what I've seen so far, I would move Cannonball down to 5 now.
Okay, what do you have for number 2?
Pixie.
Okay,
I was-
I have Mockingbird at number 2,
Yeah, that, okay.
which means I have Cannonball as my number 1 card this month.
All right, you're going to have to put on the Crusader armor and let us hear. How does
Okay.
Cannonball make himself the best resource allocation for people?
So my thinking was, I'm like,
Yeah.
now we know it's changed to moving the highest power card instead of just a random card, so you can actually use it to
Yeah.
target something.
Which is
And-
nice.
As on top of which, it automatically kills Blob. It is
Yes,
a guaranteed kill
guaranteed.
Blob,
Kill Blob.
and just being able to kill anything is very nice. Being able to have a little bit of synergy with the rock, maybe go, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
little bit extra stuff
I
there.
like
Like
it.
maybe you're running some
like
junk
it.
kind of thing, or maybe you're filling. And I
Yes.
like the stat line a lot.
This outline's good.
I like 5.8 quite a bit. It'd be better if it was a 5.9, but
Sure.
I like 5.8.
Oh, it'd be
Um,
better as a 5-9.
Our good friend Legion was a 5.8. Remember that? Now,
Yeah,
is this
took
Legion?
everything over.
No.
No.
But it reminded
no.
me of Legion in a sense of, okay, a deck that already wants to run like Shang-Chi, this kind of thing opens up the idea of like, I can tempo out Shang-Chi earlier, potentially, and like have this be like an answer to something. And even if you don't kill the 6 cost, moving it can be just as impactful. We've seen
Well,
Stegron be okay.
No, there's a lot of positioning here, right? You could move something out from armor. You can move something into a location that's going to be detrimental. You can play junk, where they're not going to be able to move and just get destroyed. You could play something where just having that extra fill on the opponent's side is advantageous to you. You can combine with Man Thing, because then the rock gets debuffed, but whatever was highest cost, highest power, probably was not getting debuffed. So getting it away is great. Next month, you'll be able to play with White Widow. So you have all these different, you have additional attacks on the opponent's side of the board that are very low risk, right? The goblins are high risk attacks on their board. Cannonball, White Widow going to be, I think, a lot traded in and make that deck much more vicious because you don't care if you miss, if they fill, really. So
now, with all that being said, this was me a little over a week ago. If I were able to reset now, I would move him to 3. I would just straight up swap him with Hope Summers and then keep everything else the same. I still stand by Pixie being the dead last worst card of this month because RNG will never be the best card. And this is consistent, and it's a 5/8. You know what you get. Look, Pixie. Okay, let me ask you this, Teddy. Where did we put Mr. Negative on the tier list? It was like
pretty low.
C, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I'm with you. Like, I'm playing Pixie in high Evo right now, and I think it's going to stay for me, but it doesn't make the deck that much better, if that makes sense. Like, the version just with Hope will be fine, totally fine. So is this where we're going to start? Can we rank, can we tier list Hope and Pixie and then roll into our 5s?
Sure. Let's see. I'm just checking. This is blurry.
Ooh, it might not have Hope and Pixie. Are we going to... Did we check this? How modern is this poll?
It was updated most recently in February. So I'll see if it's been updated
So
again.
We're going to be a couple cards behind. I
where's
got you.
Negative?
Oh,
Where do we put him?
Don't. We have enough trouble pulling cards.
He's Series 3.
Yeah.
So that's the wrong one. Where's Series 3? Here it is. Open link. Why did this one save so HD? The other one didn't.
Negative.
Okay, yeah, he's in C tier. Okay. If Negative's in C tier, then Pixie has to be in C tier as well.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like Mr. Negative is a bit more consistent.
No.
All right.
It's because Pixie synergizes with Mobius and Mr. Negative doesn't. Like, that role of those together, like being available, I think puts her on a higher priority. It also frees up other deck, like she's a more versatile deck inclusion. You can run her with any combination of cheap and expensive cards, whereas Mr. Negative is a much smaller core of cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to argue for her higher. We'll save it for when we really hit the tier list, which you're pulling up now.
All right, let me do this.
We get Super Giant is the most modern.
I can add files.
Oh, sweet.
So let me go. Oh wait, hold on. I can just download them from Santa Fan. 1 sec.
So Hope, is she S tier? Like, are we at the dawn of a new meta age? I think she could be. I think that we're seeing it right now. Like, this is release Zabu. This is release Surfer. And people are having just like, I'm popping her in and having just unmitigated success. I know my deck is not fully optimized yet. Like, I think it's going to get worse in terms of seeing her all over the place and like struggling to find a place to stop her. Because we were either touching on this before we started recording or a little bit when it came up, like there's not a counter. If someone's playing Sarah all the time or Zabu all the time, I can run Mobius. But if I run Mobius against Hope, it doesn't stop her. The extra energy gain is just so free. Okay, B tier, you're going to concede B tier?
I'll give you B tier because you can get it down earlier.
Perfect. Cool.
Because I mean, you know, I'll give you B tier because it's a 2 cost. The fact that this was at once a 1/3 though is fucking so funny to me.
That would be wild. Honestly, so if it was a 1/3, is it A tier then? Or is it S?
It's still B tier. I think
B tier.
It's more convincing to me as a B tier. But there's still so much RNG with it. Like at the end of the day,
yeah.
Because the way the shuffle works, for those of you who don't know, it's not like, okay, here's a list and it goes 1-to-1, 1-to-1, 1-to-1.
No, yeah, that's the thing. That tripped me out so much. It does not swap. It shuffles everything. So when Wasp gives her cost to Hulk, that doesn't mean that Hulk gave his cost to Wasp.
Correct.
Hulk gave his cost probably to somebody else. So it's like, it's a different way to wrap your head around it. It's a good effect. especially with Mobius.
Yep.
Because Mobius is what guarantees it's a good effect. Otherwise, it's just like net neutral.
Yeah, but Hope Summers is immediately an S tier because it's ramp, and it's one of the best forms of ramp we've ever seen.
Yes.
And there's obvious reason to run her in anything. Needs to be
also
limited to
just-
once per turn.
Yes. And maybe a power nerf as well.
Yeah.
The fact that Vision and Jeff were already meta staples and synergize so well with this is what puts it way over the top. Because you're not just
And-
filling the location. All these decks are already grabbing these cards that move on their own power, and that's too much.
And Elsa on 2, right?
Yeah, why not?
Hope in the same lane, and then you can just go like, a 2 and a 2 maybe on 4, like Jeff something, or like Jeff Nightcrawler or whatever, and then move one out, Vision, and then you can just go from there.
That is the worst version of the deck that I tried, and right now talking about it, you hear how busted it is. So there we go.
Yeah.
Hope in S, Pixie in B. Do we want to now reset and go alphabetized?
Yeah. For
Okay.
Series 5? Yeah.
Eliath.
Okay. Not a 6-5 anymore. It is so close to S tier for me.
I think, I'm going to go A tier, but meta dependent S tier.
I think it's an easy A tier, but it's like
Yeah.
on the edge of like being
Right.
S tier.
Yeah.
And this has come from someone that plays a lot of Eliath. This is my favorite card in the game.
It's just recently burned you with those multiple
Correct. And I
8-cube
still love
50-50
him.
losses.
I was
Yeah.
even saying on stream today, I'm like, if Eliath has 1 million fans, I am one of them. If Eliath has one fan, I am that fan. Like the copy paste, copy pasta.
Yeah.
I would attend the Church of Eliath. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
He died for me, or killed everything else for me. He's great.
One or the other. We're not sure in the lore. Let us know in the comments. Annihilus, 5/6, what a champ. Is he S tier? He's also right on the edge for me.
I would say he's better than Eliath
Ooh.
by a hair.
Wow.
It's almost like they're 1A, 1B, top of A.
They are. Like, they're really good. And that junk package is so tight
And you play
and
them
so
together.
flexible now. You could play these together, absolutely.
The reason I say Annihilus is better than Eliath, even though I really think that you can just make an argument for either one either way, is simply because cards like Sentry don't see play without Annihilus.
Never.
And Eliath generically is strong enough to go in pretty much any deck that cares about getting priority. So so that's why there's an argument, right? On one hand, like, what do you value more? Archetype defining or generically powerful?
Yeah, the thing is that the card package is so tight for Annihilus with the junk that I think he hits a general use case similar to how Hawk did with the Rockslide Korg, Dark Hawk. It's Annihilus Sentry Hood is the core.
Right.
You can go all in if you want, but you don't have to. It still just generates points at a highly efficient rate. Right. And this is case in point why Heimdall should be a 5 cost. Make a move package with Heimdall that lets it activate early, because the fact that it could be turn 6 or turn 5, completely different card. If
On turn
Annihilus
6, you
was
could
a
do,
6 cost,
you could do Human Torch, Heimdall on 6. That's cool.
if Annihilus was a 6 cost, we would not be having this conversation of, is he S tier? It would be so much worse.
Yeah, way worse, way more telegraphed. He's already pretty telegraphed as a 5 cost because the setup's there, right?
Yep.
You see Sentry on 4 and you're like, oh, here he comes. But yeah.
Beta Ray Bill 4/6, calling it now B tier.
I will
Just a
agree B tier.
Solid B tier defining kind of card.
Very good, very strong, good at what it does. Make no mistake about the strength of Beta Ray Bill, but the downside is the RNG aspect of, like, you have to find your hammers, and
the downside is the rarity of card draw. If we get more card draw effects, you're going to see a surge in Beta Ray Bill, but without it, he's very balanced.
But when you have that curve of Thor into Beta into Jane, you're just like, oh, I win the video game.
No, it feels very good. Black Knight 1/2. Oh, so good, so good. Is he A tier? I think he's A tier.
He's absolutely A tier.
Obviously, we're bundling in the shard. Like that's the whole conversation.
Yeah.
It's really the fact that the um, Ebony Blade. Sorry, I was going to go Muramasa Shard. The Ebony Blade is insane with the update to not being able to be destroyed or have its power reduced. That gives it so much flexibility around playing around locations, around being able to be played early without control affecting it, and it makes this deck very, very effective. No, I don't think he's S.
Why?
I think that the deck's performance overall is just not quite high enough.
Okay.
It does have hiccups, times where what is discarded is not kind of the top dog that you want. I mean, I know most of the time you're able to manipulate it. He also has some vulnerabilities in terms of being able, as a one cost, to get taken off the board before it can have effect.
So, I mean, he's in decks that are posting a 0.46, 0.32, 0.41, 0.47 cube rates. Now, let's see how his is on his own.
It's probably pretty good.
0.37, 54.
Yeah. This is a good card.
He's a very good card. My only reasoning for maybe considering him for S tier, because I think of him have like on the bubble of like top 10, like I think maybe top 15 card in the game.
Yeah.
Because frankly, I don't think hell is a deck without Black Knight. Because it just gives you
though.
a bad deck.
Bad deck. She was not as good. Deck. Do you think that the Hela is the better version, or do you think that the Ms. Marvel is the better version?
I think the one that's more low to the ground, just get Black Knight value and then like just do good stat stuff with like Shang-Chi and things like that. I still think that's the better version.
The Sarah Control hybrid.
Yeah. I also really like this version, this Annihilus Sentry version.
Wow, that is one heck of a deck. I do, yeah. Why not? Blade into Infinite or Sentry, and then Black Knight, a big blade, Ghost Rider it back down as well. That's kind of cool.
But we'll say A. But he's probably top 15, right? I think when it comes down to it.
I think so. Top 20 for sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to see a list in front of me to debate anything there on the mid tiers. But next up, Black Swan 3/5, last season's Battle Pass, who did not ever really break out. Are we going B tier?
Yeah, I think she's better than Pixie. Frankly, better than Beta Ray Bill, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
the Thanos decks did adopt, and Thanos is just such a good shell. It's kind of hard to separate like the card from Thanos' success. I'm surprised that Bounce has not really lit on fire with this yet, but I need to play around with it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I liked her in the what's it called? The Zukila deck. Felt good there.
Yeah, Zoo anything, man. That was where I climbed Infinite with it. It was fun. All right, here he is. 6-0. Blob. Is the current version of Blob S?
I don't think so. I think he's like if like he's right there with Annihilus and Alioth now, because it's not a guaranteed like 35 power card. It's just you might get the low roll of 15, you might get 20, but you rarely go much higher than that. Like, and I don't think a lot of Thanos decks are doing, especially because the Lockjaw nerf. Thanos decks aren't trying for the Infinite thing anymore, so they're probably not even running that. So you're not gonna hit the 32 power blob anymore.
Right.
So yeah, I think he's just A tier, and I'm happy where he's landed. I cannot be happier. Blob is one of my favorite adjustments they've made as far as nerfs go, because it kept the integrity of the card, but brought it back in line to where it should have been, and it's still phenomenal.
Yes. No, I'm very happy with the change. He's no longer nearly as oppressive. He still absolutely gets the job done. I'm probably going to agree. An A tier card.
Now, do you think he's better than Black Knight?
I play way more Blob than Black Knight. I'll say yes, but I'll say that I'm biased.
See,
Blob's
I'm biased because
won
I
me
play
so many
I play
games.
more Nihilus Goliath than anything, and I'm
Yeah.
still putting them behind Blob and Black Knight for
Yeah.
that matter.
All right. Now, Blob's best friend, Kyera, 3-4. Was she the one that released at the same time as Black Swan and kind of stole the spotlight, I think?
A little bit, yeah. But I
Yeah.
still think she's actually right above Black Swan at B tier. I don't think she's A tier, simply because we're already seeing like with the now it's early, but with the introduction
Yeah.
of Hope Summers, we're seeing Thanos decks and Haivo decks just cutting Kyera completely
Yes.
in favor of Mana Cheat, which makes sense, but also speaks to volume of like you were happy to have her, but you're not too upset to see her leave. You know?
Yeah, it also speaks to lower prevalence of Killmonger. If
Right.
Killmonger upticks, then it probably comes back because those are decks that have both 1 costs and 6 costs that want to be protected. And Kyero is covering both bases, which helped a lot. And so without too many predators on the 1 cost side, then Kyera's use is only on the 6 cost, which you can just protect with initiative anyway, and some other effects like Pro X or armor if you want to run something like that. But yeah, Hope just letting you guaranteed play your weapons or play multiple weapons. They can only kill one of them with Shang. So I cut Kyera in mine. So yeah, I'm pretty good with this B.
Yeah.
Corvus Glaive, 3-5. Discard Menace. This was one of the big overperformers from his season, I feel like.
But he still feels B to me. It's weird because like I'm not putting him in S. I'm just putting him next to Hope Summers for now. It's weird because Hope Summers is really good, but Corvus has something Hope Summers doesn't, and that's RNG, which I think immediately brings him down at least a peg.
Oh, you're saying because they both energy cheat, right?
Right, but
yeah, or they energy ramp.
I look at what's in A, and I just can't for the life of me say Corvus is in that tier. And I look at what's in B and I'm like, yeah, Corvus is probably like,
okay, then
here.
You're going to have to go pull up the Series 1 or Series 3 A tier. And let's look at like, what's the bottom of that tier look like, you know?
So Series 3.
Shuri. I think Corvus is as good as Shuri.
Is Corvus flat out
Rock
better than
slide.
Electro?
Flat out better than Electro?
Yeah.
Yes. I like him more than Electro. I think that the decks with like ramp with just Electro Wave was not breaking out. The Corvus version is better. With the Hela mix.
It's close, but I'm
saying like very bottom of A tier.
Right.
I also think that discard is like still getting optimized a little bit. I'm seeing these other decks come up that are actually pretty good at generating power. Yeah. So I can see a lot from Corvus.
Sure.
All right. Cull Obsidian, 410. How much do you like Cull, Brad?
Enough to put him in A tier.
Yeah.
I would say right above Corvus.
I'm good with that. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Like, is he going to become the next Gladiator? He kind of has.
Yeah. I like running both of them in the same deck, but you know.
Right. That kind of deck is often just looking for like the tempo stats, so they make sense together. He has a little bit higher opportunity cost at the 4 cost instead of the 3 cost price point, but I really like him.
He's phenomenal. Like, there's not much to say about him. He's just really good. If he had the old one where he couldn't be destroyed or was a 4/9, I think he might be S tier.
Play that sucker everywhere.
When I go against the Haiva deck that runs Scorpion and they hit my Cull in hand, I'm like, yes, you made him better.
You don't know what you've done for me. Elsa Bloodstone, 2/3. Now, you said you liked Blob change a lot. How much did you like this Elsa change?
Enough to say she's the top card in B. I think she's
Top card in
supremely
B.
underrated. People are way too caught up in their feelings of, oh, she used it again. Remember what she was, and you have to
A.
use that.
Or she was
She
sorry, she was S triple S.
she was, and then the initial
Yep.
nerf where it was down to +2 instead of +3, she was still arguably an S tier card because the global effect, right?
Oh yeah.
So and it made her so crazy with things like cloning vats and stuff. Now she feels like what she should have been, which is a B tier, could be A tier card if she had the deck that like kind of carried. People get way too caught up in like what she was. I played her a lot. She's very good still, even in her current state. I'm actually scared of whatever their changes for her because
Right, because they've said they want to buff her, basically, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
if she becomes a 3-cost global effect, which I don't think that's going to be the option because I feel like it would have been implemented already by now.
I kind of like a +1, but global.
Yeah, I think that could be okay. Still a 2-cost.
I like that a lot, actually. Yeah. You can play around with the stats whatever you want, but as an effect, I like +1, but global. Way more flexible and just feed stats all over the place.
Right. Yeah, I look at her like the only thing is like I really like the +2 for Kitty Pryde and for like Vision and
yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Like having a movable 2/5, movable 5/10, a movable 1/4 with Nightcrawler, a a 1/8 from Kitty Pryde.
Exactly.
She's I think, man, I don't know. I don't know what the change would be. I
Okay.
don't want it to be a 3-cost because the 3-cost conflicts too much.
Too slow.
Yeah.
Too
So-
slow to get out. You have to be filling locations with her, so she needs to be cheap to get the effect off. So I understand. I would probably argue for her lower in B, but I'll take this positioning. Galactus, the first big bird.
And it's
the
funny
worst
because
card in Series 5 so far.
it's the first big bad, and it's also our first C tier card, I think.
I think so. C,
Where
not
did
D.
No, he's not that
I
good.
see Thanos, but I don't see Galactus next to him, which makes me worried.
Yeah, like where
Where did they
no,
put
no,
our
it's
boy?
alphabetical. Remember alphabetical.
The
Hold on. He should be up
World
here.
World Eater.
Uh,
Nope, because those are the old cards.
no, yeah, there is. But he was.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Well, I guess
Yeah.
they were kind of an old card because it just they didn't come into the game
It was a
until
month
lot
into
later.
the game that they came
Yep.
out. Yeah,
Exactly. So, C tier.
yeah.
I
Because
don't know. Do we need to say anything? He's just so gimmicky right now.
right, and he can't be carried on his own. He's so inconsistent, and he's really like he's not even the main card in his own deck. He's like
No,
the
like,
plan
literally-
B that you like maybe stumble into because you're goblins and stuff. The main thing is the Annihilus Sentry stuff, right? And Selene goblins.
The best, the best use for Heimdall is like randomly included in other decks that then is like surprise Heimdall, and it's the same thing for Galactus. I feel
Right.
like just like having him in you built a tight 11 card deck. You're like, what do I run? Can I run Galactus? 1 in 20 games. Sorry, Galactus.
Now,
Something like that.
let me say that Galactus used to be one of my least favorite cards to play against, and
Yeah.
has now become one of my favorite cards to play against. Because when I smell a Galactus on the other side, I'm like, okay, well, how do I stop it, right? And I'm like, okay, now I
5
can
power, That's
dedicate.
the answer. 5 power is
Correct,
the answer.
but it's too easy now. I
Yeah.
think it should go back. Like it was 6/7 before, right?
Yes.
Put it back. Put it back to 6/7.
Punchier.
Seriously,
At least 6-6.
I think it's just go straight back.
I just like the idea of these little nudges consistently. We're not
Well,
seeing too much Galactus.
They said when they initially made this change, like these are the knobs you can change, and then they then Elias. Okay, look,
we
the
have
reason
knobs,
he
we just
got
don't
brought
touch
down to
the
6/5
knobs.
from 6/7 is because Eliath was originally just so insane to kill everything,
Yes.
including unrevealed cards and revealed cards. So now Eliath, meaning you need to have priority. Well, give his deck the chance to get priority a bit better now. 6/7's fine. And
But
then
now
he
it
might
has
go into
extra
B tier.
access to ramp with Hope, so
Right.
we could see if that deck takes off, there could be a little bit more. I mean, you can like Hope into a Goblin, into tricks on tricks. You could also stack like the X-23 Wolverine on Hope's lane to ramp up, and then when you Galactus, they come over, stuff like
Yep.
that. So there's potential that he gets rehabilitated with a more reliable energy ramp. But until then, Gladiator 3.8. I was about to say Galactus again. Gladiator 3.8. He's just right up there next to Cull, right?
Correct. Yeah, just below Cole,
But
I think.
underneath,
Yeah, I think he's still so good. Still so good.
It's a great debate. Which one is better?
Now, the only thing that makes me sad is whenever I play Gladiator and I pull my opponent's Gladiator and then they pull a card that they kill, and I'm like, okay, that's
also,
just rude.
He kills from beyond the grave, which is wild. He was in a position where either the location or some forge effect had buffed him to 10, pulled my Shang killed him, and then he lasers from the grave, which is, I think, a little silly, but anyway,
but
he's a great card.
It's weird because I think it's a window thing. I think the way that should work, it's because like the full effect of the on reveal is if it's lower than him, it dies, but they can't make it so that the opponent's on reveals don't happen before it dies. There has to be that window of interruption because then he's just way too good in that instance, right?
100%.
So it's like it feels wrong in your brain, but it's where you have to sacrifice a little bit of how much it makes sense for gameplay.
If it killed them before an on reveal happened, would he be a 3/6 or a 3/7? Because I feel like it goes down a lot in power if it can like silence on reveal effects.
Right. He might be a 3/5, dude. That's such a power. That's so crazy, powerful. So. If he was a 3/8 and silence things, he'd be like S tier.
Yeah. All right. Grandmaster 2-0. Much touted. I honestly thought that we were going to hack Grandmaster by now, and nobody has.
Is he bad enough for bottom of B, or is he bad enough for top of C?
In terms of how he's being played right now, he's actually C tier. I think there's still so much potential on this card, but he's just not realizing anything.
He's the snap equivalent of what's the magic card? Death Shadow.
Yeah.
He is for those of you who don't know, real quick, I'll just show you.
Do an object lesson with another card game. If you have to explain it, it's not a good analogy, Brad. I know you talk Magic all the time.
It's a phenomenal analogy.
Okay.
Death Shadow is a 1-cost 13/13, but has -X where X is your life total. You start at 20, by the way. So if you play him on turn 1, he just dies.
Yeah.
Okay. It took a while for people to figure out how to make this card good, and now it's one of the best cards. Well, not anymore. It had its window. It's okay still, but like
sure.
So that's what I think about Grandmaster. It's like the potential is there.
It has to be.
We just don't know how to
repeat
do the
an on
thing
reveal
yet.
And move it. What wants this? I mean, eventually there'll be a card that probably will just like love both.
Just wait until we get an insane on reveal on a 1-cost, like original Spider-Ham. If we had original Spider-Ham, you play Spider-Ham Grandmaster in a deck together. You just go turn 1 Spider-Ham, turn 2 Grandmaster.
Yep. Some Nico effects are already almost like that. The doubling effect would pop off pretty hard. But as it is, sorry, Grandmaster. Next up again, sorry, Hercules, 4/7. I'm kind of grading this card on like stat line alone because I care nothing about the effect. It's a C tier card.
Slightly better than Grandmaster because it's big and does things. But like when I'm gonna make everyone who's a Hercules lover real sad in a second.
It's brutal, man.
Just like Wolverine, the top tier Hercules lover is Wolverine. How sad am I making him?
Here we go.
Oh, it's got a positive cube rate.
This is brutal.
Wow.
Man, like they buffed him so quick. Why couldn't they have made him a 4/8? Straight
Why
up,
couldn't have they just, made him a 3-cost?
Yeah.
He'd be phenomenal.
That would actually be way better because then his effect is cool. Make him cheaper. Let him get out there. Obviously, they were scared of Zabu, but Zabu doesn't get played in most of these move decks. What do you mean
scared of Zabu? Zabu already makes him a 3-cost, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably why.
Maybe we should... Back to the drawing board. Let's try move again, but with Zabu in the deck.
Okay.
Because what 2-costs do you really want to play? You're trying to just go crazy with like, Dagger. Dagger's really good.
But you don't set her up on 2 normally. You want to play her late game. You want
Yeah,
to set up multiple man as early as you can.
but
Multiple
that's
man on
bad.
2. So if you don't play multiple man, then sure, play Zabu.
All right, yeah, he's fine. He's top of C. He's fine.
All right, we'll go back to the drawing board. Let us know in the comments if you want to force us to play move. Please
We can
don't
do
do
like
this to
a
us, but
hey, let's do a bonus episode for the Patreon.
bonus episode where we're
Well,
just both of us are unhappy and we're playing
Yeah.
a deck we don't
You
like.
can be the
It's
pilot.
best content.
I'll be the
when your
backseat
content
gamer.
creators feel no passion for what they're doing. High evolutionary 4-4 talking about someone who's passionate about his job. Is he S tier? He has really withstood the test of time.
He has.
It's so good.
Is it
Probably
crazy?
bottom of S.
Is it
Bottom of
crazy
S,
that
but-
like I'm not like it's crazy that Hope Summers, who's a 2-day-old card, is
Yeah,
better than Ivo that gives
No,
you
yeah,
like
yeah.
6 new cards.
exact 6 new cards and has a history of season after season being one of the best decks. It's just like I don't know. The deck got a little boring there for a couple seasons.
I mean,
like
it's a boring deck.
it's very good, but it's a little boring. That's all I can critique it. But it's very reliable. And now with Hope is popping off. All right, a deck or a card that is much more exciting. Iron Lad, 4/6. I remember when Iron Lad and Jeff was like the creme de la crop. Do you go all the way
Yeah.
to S, or is Iron Lad right now in A tier?
I think it's S tier. It's
He is
so
S.
good. It's the fact that it still has
It was
its
never
4/6
nerfed.
stat line.
Insane.
It's so good. And like if they ever made this guy a 4/5 or even a 4/4, I'd be like, okay.
Yep, about time.
But he's withstood it, and no one really complains about his stat line. Everyone's just like, yeah, he's just we accept him as just this staple great card. And I
This
will
was, like,
never I will never not back down from patting myself on the back and yelling, why are you not playing this card in Thanos for months? And then now
Right.
he's a staple in Thanos for the most part.
Really good. That hits on Pro X every time from my opponent. Please stop.
See, I love it when I'm playing with a Nihilus and I'm like, all right, we're going to get the hit, baby. Turn 6, we drop him. We didn't draw Nihilus. 1 and
Yep.
3, we got it. Let's go send everything over.
Light 'em up.
Or hitting Darkhawk is very good too.
Oh, for
It's always been
sure.
great.
And then with Zabu making him even cheaper, it is what really keeps him in S right now. I think he's working with the other S tier Zabu so cleanly.
I think he
Next up,
could be S tier without Zabu.
that's what is really wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jean Grey, right there with Grandmaster is like my biggest miss in card predictions.
Well,
3/3 has never found a home. It's
what?
crazy to me that she has not.
Let me. I'm putting
You
her
like
in
her
bottom.
too, right?
I'm putting her bottom and B for now. Let me go check her stats. I do
Oh,
like
no.
her.
Don't do
I
this
think-
to us.
I think she's better than we let
You're gonna
on.
shatter my illusion that she can be good if we look at her stats.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay, she's at 50%.
Oh, she's better than Hercules.
better
Okay,
than
that's all
Hercules.
I needed.
All right, bottom of B tier. No,
Bottom
no
of B
further
tier
questions.
it is. Yeah, never again. I mean, what does? I don't even get what's missing. Like the card makes sense. I read the card like it's the SpongeBob meme where it's like read the card is good, read the card is good, and at the end it's like card is bad. How?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm looking at the
Do you know what
decks
meme
that
I'm
people
talking about? I hope I didn't like completely butcher it.
I imagine the meme of what's his name, the Man Ray, talking
Yeah.
to Patrick. He's like,
That
"This is your wallet."
yes, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. He's like,
That's it,
"This
yeah.
is Jean Grey." Yeah,
She does.
Jean
yeah.
Grey has an effect that seems really good on paper.
She controls where your opponent has to play. That's a good effect. Yes, card is bad.
So this card must be good. Nope, bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird looking at this deck. I see the things that like start to be good. Like I see Elsa, I see Vision, I see Jeff, and I'm like, yeah. I'm on board. I see Negasonic. I like that. Get priority, be able to take it. But then I see the Echo. I see the Lizard, and I'm like, why is this where you decided? And then we look at this one, and I see a little bit heavy-handed on like the move stuff. Maybe don't want Silk. Miles is okay. Nightcar
Sure.
I agree with. Groot's
heck is
interesting. That's a nice snipe. But why Groot? Why not
play
Drax?
Groot? Is so you could just literally play Captain America.
Right.
It's better than Groot.
But why not Drax as a 3 into your 4?
Drax is also bad. That's why.
Correct. But like, I'm trying to understand
Play
what they're thinking.
Cole.
Okay, let me ask what their thinking was.
Their
Why?
thinking was that they had a cool variant for Groot, or so I don't know.
I guess. What was my list? Which we did okay with.
Your list,
because my list was running Jean Grey.
Okay.
So this was the other one that I tried with Hope. I changed it. So if I go back to previous season, please show the original list. Please show the original list.
Nah, it only remembers like what you've updated it to.
Elsa's still good, I promise. Yeah, here it is. It remembered. Let's go.
Oh, look at that.
So yeah,
you've got a Taskmaster Shuri kind of deck. So you're playing in a line, stacking them up. You have no armor, which is a little arrogant, but I'll give it to you.
Mostly because like it doesn't like this isn't the main thing. This is like the side option. Like if I don't hit it,
no,
I don't care. The main thing is Kitty, Angela, and Jean Grey. Just force them into a lane. We can move out of it. Like this felt really good. Can y'all just play this list, please?
So it's the Kitty Shuri deck, but it's got Jean.
Yeah, but also Elsa. It's not. Right. It's not trying to do like the crazy all-in Kitty Pryde with like Hulkbuster and like Forge and stuff. It's
that one was a fun one though.
It was, but this is just the plan B, and I don't know, man. It's good. I liked it. It felt good. It's got a good distribution of like costs and stuff too. So just play the list, people. Come on, give it a try.
I think it needs some control. Maybe I don't know. Shang. That's the thing is that when you build something like this, you're always.
You could take out Miles, for example. Miles is the one that kind of feels pretty underwhelming at times for like Shang-Chi. But when he's a 1 and when he feels good, like, and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. But.
All right. Next up, the next big bad, Jeff, 2-3. Where do you put, is he S tier also?
No, I think he's A tier.
Bro, what? You're going to put Iron Lad over Jeff? You have to scroll down, by the way.
Where are
He's on like the right-hand side.
Where are you? Snowguard. And I'm so sorry. Yeah, he's the tippy top
Jeff
of A.
More than Iron Lad.
Okay. My reasoning
is more versatile.
It is more versatile, yes.
It's the sneaky more versatile because of all the location interaction.
The floor of Jeff is better than Iron Lad's. I will give you that.
Yeah.
The ceiling of Iron Lad far and away surpasses Jeff's, though. And it's not even particularly close.
But the ceiling of Jeff is getting played on the Pro X lane that flips it when they put 8 cubes on the line. I don't know, man.
Sure. And the ceiling of Iron Lad is, sniping the Annihilus or the Goliath or getting Jeff with Iron Lad.
Right.
That always feels good too.
It actually does feel okay, which is wild.
Right. So yeah, I think Jeff is so good. I mean, how many S tiers do we have so far?
We're going to get a lot because we are still chugging through.
So we have
S5 here.
1 S tier in series 1 and 2 is Shang-Chi. Series 3, we have 6 S tiers.
Deadpool's era, Venom, Death, Magic, Omega Red. Destroy showing up big.
Yep, so that's 7. Oh.
We have Shadow, whatever.
Where's Series 4?
From Magic.
Oh, here it is. Series 4 is Zabu,
a little
Null,
lighter,
and Darkhawk.
Zabu, Null, Hawk. Hawk, a little tenuous, but yeah, the other two for sures.
Well, the reason we said Hawk was this: we did this right when the change
right after
happened,
the change,
and the thinking was we have to be shown that it's bad. Like we have to be shown that it deserves to lose it.
Like everybody has only been playing the new cards, Hope and
I think
Hope probably plays well in a Hawk deck, so
probably
that can come right back around.
Let's see. Let's look at the last.
Is Hope in the deck yet?
Last patch, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a few
Hope's
weeks.
Not in the deck yet, but Pixie's in the deck.
Okay.
That other one.
This is insane.
That's obscenely
Excuse me?
good. All right, everybody play Hawk. He has a 60% win rate and plus 0.75 cubes. To be fair, Well, there's a lot of Thanos going around, which is helping, and because Blob doesn't counter him the way they used to, it's a pop
Yeah.
off.
Man, my boy's
All right, time to
eating. He can
dust
stay
off
in
the
S tier.
hawk. He's eating good. All right. So we put Jeff. Let the audience note my dissent that Jeff should at least be over Iron Lad. But honestly, I was going to put Iron Lad in A, so I'm like, I'm okay with it. I guess more okay with it. Next one, another big bad, Kang, the Forgotten One, 5-0.
Okay. He's
is
not
he
he's not F tier. He's not that bad.
but he is D tier.
He's probably D tier.
Yeah.
I think realistically, where the
Part
hell
of what hurts
are
him is his billing as a big bad, right? That's actually part of like what hurts him here is people expect so much more from this card.
Okay. My heart of hearts tells me I know he's probably really D, or like as it stands right now, he's D. But
Yeah.
like the potential of the card makes it's like how you felt about
He's like
Grandmaster. Like,
C
the
or
potential
B.
is like B.
Yeah.
The potential I think is at least better than Galactus, because
Yes.
in my mind he goes off 100% of the time, and you at least get him. He does what he. Okay, I'll put it this way: blindly throwing out Kang on turn 6, at the very least, you get to be like, "Huh, gonna retreat." Thanks for telling me, Kang. I saved myself 2 cubes there. Galactus.
If you're someone who
is
falls
just,
for boomer snaps, run Kang.
yeah.
If you just like think very critically about your play, like how many times has someone snapped on 5 and then you accepted and lost? That tells you that maybe Kang will actually be really good for you climbing to infinite. How many times do you like to bully people and snap on the final turn and then play Kang and get out of it? That's kind of fun too.
I love
like,
me a boomer snap with Kang. Kang snap is like one of my favorite things to do in the game. Now, let's take a look at Kang.
No. Ouch. Getting played with.
Okay. It has under 50%, but it has a better cube rate than Grandmaster, Gene, and Hercules.
With a lower win rate, which is proof that, you know, he lets you take those more advantageous games, even though he's not in good decks.
Okay, then I think he's got to be C tier at that point. He's like on par with these other cards.
Don't put him down. Put him back down. Thank you.
Let it be heard by the audience that we saw the stats.
Next up,
Teddy is silencing
Loki.
my voice. Is he S tier anymore?
Oh,
he is certainly the top of A tier at the very least. He is certainly the tippy top of A tier.
How much can we future proof? Because he's getting Mockingbird, like
right.
S. I'm going S.
All right.
Loki is an archetype that he leads himself, and it's an archetype that I'm happy to be good at pretty much all times in the game.
Okay, I will give you Iron Lad A tier, but I think he's better than Jeff. Because I also think Loki's better than
all the
Iron
time.
Lad if we're putting him in S.
And you're just trying to like the S club is getting a little more selective. Sorry, laddie, you're
yeah,
you're good, but you're not quite making.
He had his 15 minutes of fame. He got to sit up there with the big boys for a little bit.
Yeah, gotta see how it
quick
feels.
Story time. When I was in 5th grade, I was in a classroom that had 48 kids.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a large
big class. Yeah.
The average classroom in the U.S. is typically around 20-ish.
Yeah. My classroom was 1. I was homeschooled.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I had 48 kids in 5th grade. The reason is we had 2 classrooms that had a shared little mini hallway of like 8 feet, and then a bathroom in the shared mini hallway, or 2 bathrooms.
There's one bathroom for the 50 of you? That's great.
Yeah. And they hired a new teacher. So they said, hey, Mr. Howard, your class is going to move into Mr. Hoy's classroom because you guys are friends. They hang out outside of school. So that's why they had the classrooms next to each other.
Sure.
So let's just combine them into one big classroom.
Cool. One big happy family.
One of my favorite experiences in like all of my schooling career, by the way. It's like that. My 5th grade class was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a system of tables 1 through 4, and based on your behavior and your academia and how well you're doing in both those regards, you would go up and down from tables 1 to 4. 4 being the worst table for the kids that were misbehaved. I spent a lot of time at table 4.
That sounds like you're just putting them all together. That has to be worse.
Right? You would think, but it's somehow
it has to be explicitly worse.
It somehow worked okay.
Mixing
it was
them
weird.
together.
I made so I remember, and every time someone would move, Mr. Hoy had this big speaker system behind his desk in the back of the classroom, and if someone moved up, he would play "We Are the Champions" by Queen,
Ah.
and if someone moved down, he played "Had a Bad Day."
I was hoping it was another one bites the dust.
That would be great. So I was Iron Lad in this instance one time.
Yeah.
I made it all the
Had a
way up to
bad
table
day.
1 in a day, and they were like, "Wow, Mr. Ashley's he's getting up there to table 1."
The kids
Look at
over there
that."
don't even know your name. They're like, "You're in
Yeah.
our class?"
And I was up there.
There's
and
50 of us. I don't know who you
I was
are.
at table 1, and literally within the hour, I made it all the way back down to table 4.
What did you do?
I don't even remember.
No.
And they're like,
The shenanigans must have been great.
and
for
Mr.
you
Hoy
to
was like,
drop
"You were just at table
that
1.
hard."
Like he didn't even understand what was happening. He's like,
Sure.
"What? How did you do that?" And he's
One of those.
I had to hear "You had a bad day" 3 times within an hour. So I was Iron Lad, sitting at table 1 with all the good other kids,
yeah.
and then here I.
You're like this. He's like looking around. This cannot last. I don't know any of these people. Ms. Marvel, 4/4 plus 5 to adjacent locations with 2 or more unique costs at their places. Is she A or is she S? She was S for sure.
She was
She's kind of. This is, I think, a good rehabilitation alongside Blob. Like, I just put her with Blob, honestly.
Okay, her or Mega Red? What do you value more at this moment in time?
No. I am a Ms. Marvel player.
Yeah, I
I
lean
think.
towards her having
I'm
a bit
looking at
better
our
utility
Omega Red and
overall.
S now, and I'm feeling like we might have overcompensated our hype around his alterations.
Mm-hmm.
He also might just be underplayed right now because everyone's following the cult of the new, and the new cards don't necessarily lead into an Omega Red game plan. So,
Right. Yeah, I would put her above Omega Red right now.
yeah.
So for that reason, I'll put her at the bottom of S.
Okay.
I still think Omega Red is probably around top 10. He might be edged out a bit, but I still think he's back there. I think he's top 15.
I mean, it's tough now that Hope released. Like,
Right.
Stacked cards are getting more stacked. Nebula, 1/1. She's been a staple for quite a while now. Specifically, maintains a home in High Evolutionary.
Right behind Jeff.
So,
Yeah,
I'm pretty good with this. Like,
also,
she just dictates
look how
so
good
much of the
Series
game.
5 is. Good God.
Is next up Nico 1/2. Is she S? She's at top of A.
So my
I
thinking
love
is
me some Nico.
my thinking is around here, right
Okay.
above Nebula, below Jeff and Iron Lad, simply because Jeff and Iron Lad, you can basically say these go in almost every single deck, especially
Yes.
Jeff. And I think Iron Lad's like already right there. Even like if you're not running Zabu, you could argue he can go in a lot of your decks.
No, you can, yeah. He's like a deck thinner.
Yeah.
You have a tight 11 cards, and you either run Galactus or Iron Lad or Jeff. Like, these are your options.
So Nico feels like that a little bit, but on a lesser
does.
scale. She's like a shoe-in in like a handful of decks. And like I often think like maybe she's underplayed a little bit, and then I'll put her in other random decks, and I find, well, some of these modes just don't work well enough in these decks, so I end up cutting her.
Yeah, occasionally she rolls the spell at the exact wrong time for you. It's like, you're unplayable because you'll destroy the next card I need. I just wanted you to be a 1/4, please. And you don't know, so you do have an opportunity cost in that regard. So I can understand this A tier position. We already valued Pixie in B, so we're going on to Proxima Midnight. 4/7, looking solid, but not too stand out. I think, she's like with Beta Ray, right?
Yeah, I think she's a bit better than Beta Ray because she's more consistent, and I think she's actually just given so much new life to the APOC, Dracula version of discard, and brought out a consistency to the deck, which is funny, that we haven't seen since America Chavez.
Have you played yet the Supergiant APOC discard deck?
No.
it's quite interesting because being able to hide Modoc under Supergiant
Solid stats.
is very effective. Having turn 6 to play to like curate your hand, and then Modoc goes off is really really good.
Yeah. Um, I like her spot in discard. It just feels right. It feels like a good card.
Now I have to figure out if I can run my. I gotta try this. Supergiant, Modoc, Moon Girl, because I could like play Swarm out of hand and Moon Girl at the same time, and then Modoc my double Proxima, double Wolverine. Here's the hoping.
Try it.
Anyway, Sebastian Shaw, 3/4. This Surfer deck made a little bit of a renaissance and then has been pushed back down. It's just like fighting for its life, given everything it can. Shaw is one of the best cards in the deck.
Yeah,
next to Surfer.
I think he's better than Proxima.
Okay, yeah, like individually.
Right.
I think his deck is not as good right now.
No, but in a vacuum, without him, Surfer I don't even think is a deck at the moment.
Not anymore. Yeah. How do you feel about Hope Surfer? It's very tight to be able to get like, because basically the breakdown is you want to be able to energy cheat into playing an extra 3 cost you wouldn't normally get to, and you can kind of do it, but you have to have more 1 and 2 cost cards in the deck, which then decreases your overall consistency of finding your 3s. But I do kind of like it. Brad's puzzling. He's puzzling. Have you thought about this deck at all?
Could we do? Because I would love to run Wasp to be able 100%. To play Sarah on 4 potentially.
Yep.
Then so that
this
makes
is
me wonder,
bringing back Patriot. It's a Patriot Surfer back from the grave.
It's either that, or maybe we even go into the high Evo angle where you bring in Cyclops.
Oh, why not? After all, why not? Because then you could still play like Misty Knight and heck even Shocker as like a 1 and 2, a low end. Spicy, very spicy. Do you squeeze A-Bomb in?
Yeah, I'm wondering.
That gets in, and then you're stuck with high Evo as a 4. The deck, you'd have to get pretty sharp on it, but maybe there is something there. Next up, Celine, 1/2. Fun, like it was an interesting debated change. Like, is she better as a 1/2, or do we like her as the 1/-1? Because Junk, Annihilus is obviously enjoying throwing her. Her just having stats now, while still being able to hit the opponent, is cool for initiative. I have not really seen her catch on, and she was one of my most hyped up cards.
Same. I was looking forward to her a lot. She's got a very solid cube rate and pretty okay win rate.
Isn't that a factor of like Annihilus, who we put up in the very top, being so good?
We have to
though?
remember, this is usually when they're played, right?
Okay, yeah.
So it's not just her existing in the deck, because if it was just them existing in the deck, then she would have the exact same cube rate and win rate as the deck itself.
Yeah, her cube rate win rate is lower than the average of that deck.
Like, even if you look at the average of all like the top, like they're all 50.
No, go back. That's brutal. Look at that. She's worse than the deck.
Yeah, I know. So she would be higher than the deck, or she would match the deck. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So like her success is a factor of being in a good deck. That's what I'm saying. Is like she herself is not that special.
Right. That's why I'm thinking C tier.
Okay. Yeah. We got there. At first, I thought we were talking past each other, but yeah, she's in C tier. She's up there with Hercules. Like, just has not caught on. The goblins, I think, are too high risk, and that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I think if the deck had, or if she had access to cards that weren't goblins, that made sense to hit, because hitting your opponent's lowest card can be impactful. But then every time
I don't see it, but
every time, that too. Every time I had play against Celine and they drop the card and it just hits my Eliath, I'm just like,
yeah,
okay,
right.
I'll still play the Eliath as a -1 and still win that game.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. I just wish there was more. However, I love playing her on 4 and going Black Widow Celine.
That's pretty cheeky. Yeah, that's fun.
I think that's
gotta
great.
drop it.
Now I wonder, hear me out.
Okay.
Could you? Because like I'm trying to think of like other things to run with. Because I really wanted to make her work as a package, similarly to how we see Sentry, Annihilus, and Hood. I was like, what if you do Celine like goblins or like whatever? So like I really like Celine with Black Widow.
Yep.
Could we run Celine with Kang? It gives you
because
a guaranteed,
you can debuff Kang, but
a
then you don't
guaranteed
care.
hit. Potentially, that way protects against your other good cards, and he disappears anyway.
Yep,
we're in the basement.
C-tier card
cooking
we're
these
gonna
together.
run the D-tier
Yeah.
card.
But hey, what if
What
together?
if I played a worse card in my deck to make him?
What if together they actually come up to the bottom of B tier?
So that, on the offhand chance I have them together, I have this convoluted combo to make two bad cards a little better. I love it, Brad. I love it. All right, chat. We'll play move or we'll play this.
You can play this in the move deck. What do you mean?
It's all bundled. You definitely want to see what the opponent's doing before you Heimdall.
I said this is a little package, okay? This is just like you run like Celine, Kang, and like a Black Widow. There's your package. Now everything else is move.
Oh boy. And what else could be move is Silk. 2/5. Premium stat line. I think a little underplayed.
Yeah.
But is she just B tier now? She used to be higher when Silky Move was at the top. But
yeah, B tier.
She's one of the only cards that the developers didn't want to nerf out of that old Silky Move deck. So I think that kind of speaks to her just being in a good spot right now.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on.
Oh, she's in this garbage farming deck.
Yeah, hold on.
Agatha.
Hold on.
I have to exclude that now.
If I get out of Post Infinite, there we go. All right.
Looking a little bit better
because it just skews her. Okay. Oh, look at the 0.51 cube rate. Good God.
That's very high.
And almost 60%, 57%.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but any of these decks are going to have like bot stats. I don't know. There's like a sticky thing when you select.
I'm doing the last 30 days though. So I'm not just doing this season where it's all bots.
Right, but you're only doing pre-infinite, so they get the
bot farming.
I don't know. It's just like it's a problem we have with our stats.
Well, if I show it with post infinite, let's see how bad the Agatha brings it down.
Can you in the filter explicitly say to exclude Agatha?
Isn't that an option? But I can't do it from. So I can't do it on the individual card. I don't think. So I can exclude Agatha.
Can't you just click excluded cards
from decks?
There you go.
Now, if I click on her again, does it?
Oh, if you click on Silk,
it includes the Agatha.
That's decks. Including the Agatha stats. It just won't include the Agatha decks.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm pretty good with her being in B tier.
Yeah, we got there.
Scar 6'11". He's had a fair bit of longevity. Is really only thriving in Thanos, but Thanos is really thriving. So is he A?
No.
Top of B?
He is. I wouldn't even say top of B. I feel like he's like middling.
What? Top of B. Top of B. Then again, I'm probably going to cut him for Mockingbird, so why am I crying?
He's one of the first cuttable cards in the list.
Kind of.
You don't cut Cole. You don't cut Blob.
No. Blob stays forever.
And like Blob especially if you're running Mockingbird,
Bay is Blob.
There's a pretty good reason to cut Scar because that's one less card that he benefits from
or discounts him. Yeah. So we'll see where he hangs around. I'm still kind of like surprised that just the big things Scar deck hasn't stayed super consistent, but it's just showing that like those stat lines are not enough to keep up in Modern Snap. Next up, Supergiant 4/5. Also, UNI's like most touted card that has been real hard to figure out.
Let me put her there for now.
This is like Grandmaster, like the potential is there, but I'm not seeing decks wreck yet.
I mean, the most played version is just a lockdown deck.
It's your deck.
No,
was not running Cole or a Tuma? What the heck?
Yeah, the top one is lockdown.
Oh, fair. Yeah, you just build into tempo with Alioth.
Mine doesn't have that many plays. Mine has like 1,000 if you take both versions. I got to scroll down
Pretty far to
fairly
find it.
far to find my
Okay.
version.
So I think that
Unfortunately.
Supergiant
Here
is
it
one
is.
of those really.
Here's my
there
old
you go.
version. Daredevil, Omega Red, Tuma. There's the arrow.
Haha. Yeah, I think it's just one of those really high skill ceiling cards, and we're still kind of hacking it. And somebody will probably still have like a light bulb moment. There's a ton of potential here, but right now, just playing it out of the box, B tier is where we're putting it.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like she's
I feel like she deserves
even
A
if she
if we
finds
figure
a
her
home that's
out.
just like perfect, she's so good with Eliath that can she like that interaction alone you could say is A tier, but then
Yep.
she's just a 1-2 cube fiend because
That is true. That if you find the combo that's going to be really oppressive, it's very telegraphed because it has to be set up with the Supergiant, and then the opponents will just kind of know.
yeah they
But
dip
then
out.
again, like Hela is still doing great, and like it's a Hela deck immediately, and you're always just kind of like, all right, do I want to call your bluff, or do I want to, whatever,
Well, here's the
get
thing.
rolled?
People are okay with calling the bluff of like maybe they don't have Hela,
Yep.
but they're not ever okay with calling the bluff of I don't have priority.
Maybe they don't have
is a
Eliath.
thing.
True. Maybe people see it as more of a sure
'Cause-
deal, though. They should start seeing Hela as more of a sure deal, I think.
Well, because they look at Hela as like even
Hela's
if you
getting away
have
with
Hela, you still
murder.
have to have your cards go in the right spots.
It always does, Brad.
I know.
Does.
But
Aliens
if you have a Eliath-
arrange where they're at.
yeah, if you have Eliath,
Alright.
I just win. Look at that.
Thanos, 6'10", S tier, big bad. Snap on Yellowstone, boys. You want to see me and Brad do a deep dive into the Thanos archetype? We've got a bonus episode out for y'all. We're looking at maybe changing around that video format where we'll be piloting the decks, make them a little bit more active and engaging.
Yep.
Is Thanos the best card in the game? He's going to make a case for it. Maybe we don't have to spoil anything, but he's definitely my top 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we'll leave it at top 3. We don't know where. How
He's
hard is
certainly
Teddy going
top
to
of-
lobby?
Tier Series 5 right now. So
I played Thanos before he was cool. I got him instead of Galactus, and I played him in Bounce when he was a meme deck. So maybe I'm showing my hand too much. I like Thanos.
this is great.
Living Tribunal, 6/9. Oh man, so here's the thing. A lot of respect to Living Tribunal. He is kind of the deck that's made me include Enchantress in my current Climb to Infinite list.
Because you can't Shang-Chi him.
Yeah, he's brutal.
Yeah,
And he puts his game plan together really well, especially if you don't have location manipulation, which is one of the things you need. And that's actually what I've cut-ish out of my high Evo deck as well. What are his stats? Yeah, he's a high roll deck similar to
so
Hela,
you're going to see a lot of like 50% win rate type of stuff with him,
Yep.
I think.
but positive cubes.
There you go. Point
Positive
30.
cubes.
That's pretty good. Yeah, he's a good card. I have him at the bottom of B right now.
Probably mid B is where I'd put him. But
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking above beta, but lower than the cards that are a bit more consistent.
Okay.
I think it feels about right.
Werewolf by Night. 4/4. What have they done to our boy? This is another one where I think that, people are like pining over what he used to be, which is clouding their judgment a little bit.
Yep. He's a B tier right now, but he should be A. He should be an A tier card. I think he was an S
Especially
tier card as a
alongside-
3/3.
Oh, yeah.
I think he should be actually here. I'm gonna put the bottom of A real quick, because you know what, Teddy? Because sometimes we can just veto things. We can look at his
Okay.
stats. Let's look
And
at his
just
stats.
say that the stats are wrong.
Well, I mean, maybe
There it is with
the
Black Swan.
0.29. His popularity is so low though.
Yes.
52%.
These are like
0.29.
pretty B tier stats,
They are.
but we're going A tier.
It's your call.
Okay.
Realistically, like as it stands right now, he's probably like right here.
It's brutal. Here's the problem. The problem is they keep on like bounce. We like the idea of bounce. Here's Black Swan. And Thanos is like, mine. You have to balance this for me now. And then they're like, okay, bounce. What if Hope Summers. You would love Hope Summers, right? Yeah. And Thanos is like, mine. You have to balance this for me now. And so it's gonna be the same thing of like the 4 costs have to get balanced for Zabu, as long as Zabu stays the way he is. Anything that helps a bouncer zoo deck is gonna have to get balanced for Thanos stones, which means that they end up getting smacked like this. Though the 3/3 was like too much. Maybe
Yeah.
if he just went back to a lower cost, but then had like no starting power. I don't know, but please give us another roll at Werewolf because he
I'd
was
be okay
very
with
fun.
a 3-0.
I would too. Final card, X23. Did Destroy put up another S tier, or is she just A? There's so much of a package, it's really hard to separate these guys.
Bottom of S.
Bottom of S. Because like if you think about Destroy with destroying X23 on turn 5 versus Destroy without destroying X23 on turn 5, is like 2 different decks, almost.
Yeah. And again, remember, prior to her existence, the Deadpool version was the meme version, and she enabled that to be the best destroy deck.
Yep. Which is still good, by the way, even with the Forge change. Have you played it much?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's still good.
Right. And you don't even have to run either Forge or Hulkbuster if you don't want to.
Would you ever play Hope in it? Just play Hope and then play like 2 cards and destroy them all, and then just like rush all this energy? Like, why not?
Yeah, that's the scary thing about Hope is just you ask yourself, why not? Why?
Yeah, exactly. Or honestly,
don't?
you can play your 1 costs there, and then you can play Killmonger, and then they pop, and Hope's still there, and then you play again, and then you play the Venom, and then pop, and
Now,
that's what's really scary about Hope.
if we were
move
to
Hope
judge,
move Hope up, top of S, over
if,
Thanos for now.
Really?
I talked myself into it. Think about it. Think about it, Brad. Hope's more versatile. She gets played in more decks. Thanos is only played in Thanos decks.
Okay, but here's the thing. Actually, so
sorry guys, I'm losing it.
The thing is actually down here. Let me find him.
Yep.
Where is the thing? It doesn't matter. Bad joke is bad,
thing?
but I love that joke no matter what. If I were to gauge X23 for when Space Stone is the location and my opponent has X23 on board, and they proceed to go Carnage, Killmonger, Venom.
Yep.
And of course, she never lands in Space Stone or Space Throne. Always.
Why would she?
Yeah, she's here. She's
right.
She's better than Hope.
Or Bar with No Name, and I see them playing it down. I'm like, ooh, and then it works. And like, no.
And it's just it never goes there. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Honestly, though, I could see an argument for her being here, though.
And by here, for audio listeners, that's between Thanos and High Evolutionary. She's really, really good. We'll have to hash this out when we do our best of all time. We're going to compare all the S tiers against each other. So that's going to be hype for next episode. If you guys have any arbitrage with our tier list, you're going to have to let us know. But we should go ahead and put out the contenders. We got Shangarang coming to us from the starter series.
The lone S tier of series 1 and 2.
Yep. Yeah, hang on to that guy. Make him purty. Deadpool, Sarah, Venom, Death, Magic, Omega Red. Man, Destroy's put up so many top cards. But then some other, like, very obvious faces. Zabu, Null, Dark Hawk. Also, I think, some just expected faces. Hope Summers, Thanos, X23, High Evolutionary, Loki, and Ms. Marvel. You're in great company if you are up here. A lot of... I might start looking at these of like cards I would like to see nerfed, and that kind of gauge how I put my tier list together. But there's some up here that I actually don't even want to see nerfed. Like, I'm very happy with where Loki and Ms. Marvel both are.
Yep. Also,
which I think
cool with Haivo, where that is.
Yeah, I think that's putting the game in a very healthy spot overall. That you'll have some of the top tier cards that you are okay with like staying in that form.
If we were to see any other further adjustments to Thanos, there's only one I could argue for, and that's Time Stone losing its card draw.
Wow. The card draw loss would be brutal.
It would.
I might be fine with just seeing like Thanos himself go down to like an 8 again.
But you never play
the deck
Thanos.
has obviously
that doesn't
been
do anything.
Successful before, so It's all on the stones balancing. There's so many little nuances there.
Like you could have a game where Thanos, like
I'd
you
be
played all
okay
the
with-
stones, and he could be a 20, right? But
Yeah.
then
You still play Blob.
you still play Blob
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he could be a 22.
What if like Time Stone became a 2-cost?
That'd actually be cool.
There's no rule saying they have to be 1-costs.
Right. It's even, and it makes your brain feel nice that they're 1 costs.
Yeah, but then they didn't all be 1 powers. They already broke that rule, so.
What
Purple
if,
Stone at the 1/3.
What if Time Stone? No, I was trying to think of like Kang type of stuff where they just disappear.
Oh yeah.
But then like that makes me happy. I draw a card and I keep my board space. Sick.
Sure.
You
Yep.
just don't run zoo versions anymore, pretty much.
Oh, you're saying if the stones would disappear?
Yeah.
That'd be such a different deck, but you'd save your board space. It might not be worse. That's
It
wild.
might be better.
I mean, there were versions that were running Killmonger just to open up board space. So yeah, Thanos is just this beast that they've unleashed, and now that they've set him up, like I can see him being a top performer for many seasons to come. If you can invest in these guys, High Evo, Thanos, they're going to be evergreens. They have the big bad status. Definitely go for them. Anything else on our list of S tiers could quite easily see alterations, but those two are the ones that I would put the biggest like longevity tags on.
I'm excited. I'm excited to do the
Did you have any
next one.
surprises out of Series 5 to wrap us out, Brad?
I kind of think everything landed where I thought it would.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest surprise is still the fact that Hope Summers released as she
Yeah.
is.
I was going to say, it's Hope, right? Like, Hope is popping off.
She's just so good, and it's scary. And what's gonna bother me till the end of time is the fact that I don't think she's gonna have nearly the amount of vocal complaints as Loki has ever had.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah,
'cause-
I think it's partly because like there's going to be more deck variety around Hope, whereas Loki was like just Loki.
Well, people don't like it when you use their cards against them or make you lose your cards. It's the reason
Yep.
people don't like Thoughtseize or any hand disruption in like Magic or any other card games, right? If
Right.
like okay, could you imagine if Celine was a 1/2, look at your opponent's hand, discard a card of your choice, like that was what Celine did,
Crazy,
and like
man.
everyone would hate her
Oh yeah.
because it's your cards, it's your things, it's the things in your hand. Please don't do that. Don't do the thing to me.
Yeah.
So that's why people don't like Loki. But Hope Summers, even though she arguably I think is going to be more egregious than Loki, she's not going to get as much hate because
Right.
there's agency over it.
Yep.
But if you want to see these episodes early and all that good stuff, you can go to Can't Stop Snapping on Patreon. So patreon.com/Can't Stop Snapping, where we have bonus episodes on there. Currently, there's one at the moment. We're going to have another one. We may be recording this weekend, Teddy, to do another one. And
Ba-da-dum-ba-ba.
we have a few options as far as what we could do it on.
Let us know.
We can do it on discard decks. We could do it on
Oh,
Loki
boy.
decks.
Let's go.
And there's also High Evo. However,
These are all my bread and butter. You guys are going to get a great episode.
right. And then we can do the gameplay thing like we were talking about before, have a bit more in depth in that regards. You can see more, a little less of the sideshow presentation type of content. But man, it's going to be fun. So let us know what you guys want to see. Have a option over there on Spotify you can choose. And of course, our Patrons can vote as well. And if you want to see these episodes early or watch them live, like we have every single week, people do, you can go ahead and join the Patreon. Again, patreon.com/Can't Stop Snapping. We love you. We appreciate you. You're the best. Teddy.
Don't stop snapping, guys.
Bye.
Can't Stop Snapping is a podcast hosted and produced by Brad Saffer and Teddy Ninja, originally created by Michael Thurman.